Hey friends, welcome back. In part 27, we built powerful backend APIs to manage users, fetching all users, updating roles, and deleting user, all protected with role-based access using SQLize. And in today's part, we're switching gears to the front end, where we will connect those APIs using Axios and a handful of helpful utility functions. Let's break it down step by step. Right at the top of users API.js, we are importing Axios, which we will use to make HTTP requests. We will also import some utility functions from our utils.js file. Each of these plays an important role in security and session management. Let's understand how. Before every API call, whether it's fetching users, updating roles, or deleting a user, we always do two checks. This ensures the token exists and hasn't expired. If the user is not logged in, or their session is expired, we won't even try to make a request, and this prevents unnecessary backend load and errors. Next, we extract the logged in user, and auth head is like this. These are essential for authenticated routes. Remember, these util.js functions are created in part 23. Let's look at our fetch all users function. Here, we send a GET request to the backend using the URL. Notice, we're passing the user ID as a query param. On the backend, as you remember from part 27, we don't restrict access here. Anyone logged in can fetch all users. If the request succeeds, we return the list of users. But if the request fails, for example, if the token is expired, we call handle session expired function. This automatically logs out the user or redirects them to the login page. Next is update user role function. Here, we send a put request with the body ID of the user being updated, user ID of the logged in admin user, and new role to assign. On the backend, we check: is the requester an admin? Is the new role valid? Does the target user exist? If everything checks out, the role is updated. Again, if the token is expired or the user isn't authorized, we gracefully handle that using handle session expired function. And if it's successful, the front end gets a message like role updated successfully. Lastly, we have delete user function. This sends a delete request with ID of user to delete and user ID of the logged in admin user. On the backend, we again check: is the requester an admin? Does the target user exist? If yes, we delete the user and return user deleted successfully. If not, we send back a 403 access denied or 404 user not found, and the front end handles it accordingly. Now, we are rebuilding this users.js file to fetch real user data from the backend via APIs, which supports role-based access control for admin, editor, and viewer roles. By the way, we created this static users.js page in part 9. You can check that out for reference. We begin by importing React hooks and our helper utilities. The key difference is, instead of hard-coded users, we now fetch them from an actual backend using APIs. Using component state, we now track fetched users, modal visibility, and animation state, the role we want to update to, and the current user's role for permission-based controls. Now, let's take a closer look at this very important useEffect block. This useEffect is a React hook that runs once right after the component is mounted. The empty dependency array means it won't run again unless the component is unmounted and remounted. Think of this as our page initializer, the place where we kick off all the setup logic. Next, this line reads the token stored in local storage, usually saved after login, and decodes it using the helper function getToken and user. From this token, we extract the current logged in user's information, specifically their role, which tells us if they're an admin, editor, or just a viewer. We double check to make sure the user exists and the role is defined. This is a safety check to prevent any runtime errors in case the token is missing or malformed. Then we call setCurrentUserRole function. This sets a state variable called currentUserRole, which is used everywhere in the component to control permissions. Lastly, we call loadUsers, which is a function that sends a request to the backend API and loads the actual user data. This is the moment when our page transitions from empty to fully populated using real data from your database. Alright, now let's move on and build the functions that make our edit and delete modals work. Let's start by creating a function called openEditModal. First, I'm writing a simple function that will be called whenever someone clicks the Edit Role button next to a user. We call it setSelectedUserID. This stores the ID of the user that we are about to edit, so we know which user's role is going to be updated. Then, setShowEditModalTrue triggers the modal pop-up to appear. We are using this Boolean flag to control whether the edit modal is shown or not in the JSX. This means, when I click on Edit Role, the modal pops up and it knows which user I'm editing. Now let's do the same for delete. Let's write the function to close either modal with a fade-out effect. Set modal closing true. This adds a CSS class to trigger fade-out animation. We then use setTimeout to delay the actual closing logic by 300 milliseconds, which matches our CSS animation timing. Inside that timeout, we hide both modals by setting their flags to false. Reset the animation flag and clear any role input in case the user was editing a role. So whenever the user clicks cancel or after completing an action, this function ensures a smooth, polished closing animation before the modal disappears. Now we will handle what happens when the user actually saves the new role. First, we validate the input. The new role must be either admin, editor, or viewer. This protects the backend from invalid updates. Then we call our API. UpdateUserRole sends the updated role and the user ID to the backend. After the API call, we close the modal using closeModal function for clean UX, and we refresh the users list using loadUsers function to show the updated role immediately. Now finally, let's allow admins to confirm and delete users. This one is straightforward. We call the delete user API with the selected user's ID. Then we close the modal and refresh the user list. So the user disappears from the table right after deletion. And just like that, the delete flow is fully functional. Let's add a conditional check to show the actions column only if the logged in user is not a viewer. This way, user who has role as viewer won't even see action buttons. Cleaner UI and stricter access. Next, inside the T-body, I am updating how buttons are shown based on the logged-in user's role. For example, only admins can delete and editors as admins can edit roles. I also replaced the old handle edit and handle delete functions with more structured modal-based handlers, openEditModal function and openDeleteModal function. What if there are no users to display? I will wrap the entire table in a condition that checks users.length. If it's 0, I'll just show a simple message no users found. This improves UX for edge cases like a fresh database. Now I'm adding a modal that opens when a user clicks Edit Role. This is connected to the Show Edit Modal state we set earlier. The animation class Fade In or Fade Out is toggled using the modal closing state. On save, I call handle edit submit, which hits the API and refreshes the user list. Similarly, I'm adding a modal for confirming deletion. Again, handle delete confirm triggers the backend API and reloads the user list. The close modal ensures the modal exits with a fade out effect. Now let's style everything to match our admin panel's elegant purple theme and introduce some animation for smoother user experience. We started with this basic layout, but it was missing positioning support for modals. So I've added position relative to the container, so the absolute elements inside behave correctly. Old table had plain white rows with standard borders. Now we're making the whole table visually fit our purple branding. We've changed the background to a soft lavender and updated the header to a strong purple with white text. And we even added a hover effect to rows to highlight interactivity. The old buttons used green and red for edit, delete, which was fine, but didn't match our purple theme. Now we've redesigned all buttons with spacing, consistent padding, and soft hover transitions. These buttons now look more premium and consistent with the design of the modals. Next up, modals. These were completely missing before. We've added a scented overlay using Flexbox and applied a dark transparent background to highlight the modal box. This ensures the modal takes full screen and centers properly. This makes the save, delete, and cancel buttons sit nicely in a row with spacing. These animations make the modal appear more elegantly rather than just popping in. Boom! Here we are. This is the newly styled users page inside our admin panel. Let's try editing a user. Now let's test the edit modal. I'll click the edit button next to a user. Look at that. The screen darkens with a transparent black overlay and our modal box slides up right to the center. Alright, that's it for now. See you in the next one.